Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here, Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans of what we do around here. I want to thank you for subscribing if you already have, and ask you to subscribe if you have not. We've got almost 200 audios for you to choose from, so something hopefully that will appeal to you. Today, we are going to discuss something that I consider reasonably important, especially going back to school, and that is 5 things that cause school related stress. Now, this can be for middle school, high school students, college students, people that are going back to college as adults, any other number of things, but there's 5 things that'll cause stress in a schooling environment, and getting some help with those if you need it. Good idea. The first one is bullying. Be that cyberbullying or in-person bullying, any sort of group or clique mentality can cause stress. Unfortunately, people, especially in Western culture, place way too much emphasis on being accepted by their peers. Now, that's not to say that you should be antisocial by any stretch of the imagination, but on a college campus, there's thousands of people, and you only need a tribe of, 5, 10, right? So finding people that will align with you really is not as hard as you think. It's just a lot of people are uncomfortable with social anxiety or depression or social isolation or previous bullying. So if something happens in a schooling environment where somebody misrepresents themselves or mischaracterizes you, you go into a negative state and it can affect your learning experience. The second thing is the overemphasis on grades versus learning, especially in Western culture, where unfortunately we are driven by achievement rather than actual knowledge. People spend a lot of time preparing, cramming for tests, and many of them do it in a manner that's not educationally sufficient. That is, try to cram in 3, 4, or more hours of study in the hours right before a test, or they pull all-nighters. Trouble is, the brain can only stay focused on something for somewhere at most 90-minute increments, but usually do better somewhere between 20 to 45-minute increments with breaks in between. And that's because the human mind is set for sprints, not marathons, when it comes to retaining information. And so a lot of times people who think that cramming for a test is a good idea, or they have test anxiety, or they are just not good test takers for any number of reasons. If you're in a class that does essays and you're not an essay person, or if you're in a class that does multiple choice tests with many questions and you tend to overanalyze questions, it can be extremely difficult to get through the educational process. The third thing of note here is time management, especially for people transitioning into high school, where they start to give you more rope to hang yourself to a degree, and also or entering college, where really your professors get paid whether you show up to class or not, so they really don't care how you manage your time unless you ask for the help. Learning how to navigate things like work, sleep, eating, spending time with friends, study, and going to class, and appropriating the right amount of time for study of classes that are a little harder on you, and enough time to study the ones that you need to study a little bit but not completely, can be a really challenging thing. Sometimes it's useful to hire a coach to help you reach those goals, and I do work with many college students on time management because it is a major challenge. The next is the social aspect. How do you find a social group? Do you want to go the sponsored club route? Do you want to go the partier route? Do you want to go the certain hobby route? Or are you looking for people that you're already connected with and then just adding to that social group? Or are you going the sorority fraternity route? And how do you find time within the educational and academia and professional side of your life to fit social interaction in consistently? That can be challenging for a good number of people, and actually scheduling social time at least a few times a week into the process of your schedule, usually the easiest way to do that. The fifth one, and another really common one, is taking too many classes. The intensity of classes and no uniform approach to teaching by professors. So, one professor could be what I call a lecture notes professor, and their exams will be based on that. Others will base it completely on the book, and then you've got the third set where they'll tell you what's going to be on the test, but they'll tell you during the semester, and if you miss a class, you might miss a whole section of the test, and it's outside of the syllabus or just, negatively there somewhere. In any event, it can be very challenging. So these are the 5 biggest stressors in the educational process for especially high school and college students. Finding a way to deal with those, getting a coach if necessary, certainly a good idea if you are struggling. So until next time, I encourage you, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.